What's up, my loves? It's your girl Diamond, and I'm back with an all new episode of Loving Family or Fiancé. First of all, how was everybody's Thanksgiving weekend? Obviously, it kind of still going on. It's Saturday. It's about to be Sunday. It's already Sunday. My bad. But how's everybody else going? You had a good Thanksgiving. I had a good Thanksgiving as well. Really good Thanksgiving. So obviously, if you guys hear some noises in the background, that is my son. He's watching one of his favorite movies. I would say Thomas and the Train. Anything with Thomas, he's watching it. But ignore the loud noise, please. Ignore it. Okay, so Family and Fiancé. We are introduced to Kamisha and Rashad. They met on a stage play. Rashad is an actor and Kamisha is a director. And he just kind of knew for a fact that this is the woman he wants to spend the rest of his life with. And he asked her out for dinner. And that's she realized she liked him. Because during the time that her and Rashad met, she was with someone else. But she was also recently diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And her ex-partner, ex-significant other, could not handle it, so he pretty much dipped out. But when she fully gave her... Sorry, you guys, my video cut out. But like I said, Kamisha just recently was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And by the time she got Rashid, he was pretty much all in to help her. She fully acted on her feelings because, she was kind of like weird about feeling nervous of telling someone about her medical condition, so she's not really sure how people take it. But Rashid was all in. And even when they arrived at the house, she asked, can he help her? Can he help her out the car? Because, of course, some sides of her body get a little limp, get a little weak. She can't feel it, so she needs a little help, balancing, a little help walking. It even showed a few videos where she's walking with a cane. I'm like, wow, I wouldn't even notice unless she said something. And Rashad was also in another very delicate situation because he has 2 kids with an ex. And apparently this situation is very delicate to talk about and also delicate to dive into because he's going through a custody battle with her. Now, when he said that, I was kind of like, okay, Jimmy, what's the backstory? Is the delicate meaning it was hard to tell her you were moving on to another woman? Or was it hard to tell your kids that you were moving on with another woman? Because I feel like majority of the energy that I was getting was the mother pretty much feeling like she didn't want the father to move on. She wanted to make his life miserable because she's pretty much holding the cards that she has the anything to say or do to make sure that his kids are in his life. She's holding the cards. Because, even though we weren't each other's first, we intend to be each other's last. So on Kamisha's side, they know about the engagement and they were very happy for her. For Rashad's side, they don't really know because he is not in good standing with his mother. Because he feels like during the course of this custody battle, he feels like the mother sided with his ex on pretty much the way things are going, where he doesn't see his children, but yet she has made a way to still see her kids. And she's not really seeing his side or seeing how things have transpired by way of her. We're going to find out more about it. So we get to the session with Tracy and the engagement. Loved her from the moment. He saw how she directed everybody. She had good energy, and he was attracted to it. She has a pretty good relationship with his children. They also take a liking to her. They adore her. But they're going to have a conversation about Kamisha is about to be daddy's wife. So while they have a pretty much dynamic of mommy and daddy, another person about to come in, not to take over, but to be a bonus mom, basically. So they want to have that conversation. Okay, understand it, because I believe throughout the course of the the course of the breakup, or the course of mommy and daddy in 2 different households, I think the kids were under the impression that mommy and daddy were still together, but never fully broken up. Maybe when they were smaller, I guess, because he has a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old. So maybe during the course of the relationship was breaking up or completely going their separate ways, I would say. Maybe it wasn't completely clear as to what the dynamics of the mommy and daddy situation was. So, talking about her multiple sclerosis, pretty much it boils down to stress in her central nervous system, where she comes to the point where she might have days where she doesn't feel anything, loss of touch, loss of smell, loss of sight. It makes her completely weak. So With those being very difficult, Rashad. Why do I keep saying Rashid? Rashad is right there being a helping hand because he also has a family member with MS, and he's helped that person out from time to time. So this was completely natural for him to step in and be pretty much a caregiver for Kamisha, and I really love that. I really do. So we're talking about the plan of action. We talk about dicey questions and plan of action and dicey questions. So then we're talking about his mother. When the family gets to the home, we're obviously talking about the situation with him and his mother because his mom recognizes that they're not in a good standing. And will they ever be? Will he acknowledge me? Will he say hi to me? So when she comes to the house, he calls her Mrs. Worthy. And she was like, I wanted to say something, but I didn't want to make a scene, so I'm letting him have it, but don't disrespect me. I'm your mother. So after that, they were going around the room. So we speak to her family, Michelle, her mother. Her main concern is you are a very selfless person. You put everybody else's feelings before yours. But you also have MS. I want you to make sure you're taking time out for yourself to make sure you're good, your medication is okay, and if you're not okay, let me know. And also, when it comes to Rashad and his children, I know you love your kids to death. I've pretty much seen it and witnessed it. But what's going to mean with the way that the custody battle is going? And what does that mean for Kamisha? Her father, Errol, his main concern, her health. What you have going on in your relationship, with Rashad and his custody battle with his ex, I don't want that to stress over to Kamisha. I know you say you love her, but I want you to know, do you really love her to the point of what you're about to do? And they have a lot going on. I just don't want her stressed out. Her best friend Pat, same thing. You know, you're in a relationship. I just want you to know. Oh yeah, no. I'm skipping. My bad. I'm skipping. Or my bad. Her best friend Paris, same thing. Want to make sure everything you want to have is got going on. I don't want no stress added to you. So we get to his mother Pat. She wants to know what's up with him and her son. The relationship. We need to get it better, get it fixed. And I don't know how you are with your kids. The attitude, I feel like it's a different attitude than I'm seeing them. And I want to know what's going on with that. His cousin Sam, family is the main thing. I want you to know why you're not in a good position with your mother. That needs to be fixed. His cousin Dion, the engagement, he thinks is very quick and you just now trying to figure yourself out, but yet you think this is not going a little too fast. And of course, fix your relationship with your mother. So we get to the questions. Tell us something new about you that we may not know, good or bad. So she talks about her health condition. And she has a hard time moving around. So when you see her holding Rashad, it's not the fact she's just holding him for affection. She's holding him for balance. Has a hard time getting around. So Dion is another person. I believe that's the cousin that Rashad talks about. He's also a disabled person. And it's very hard. It's very hard to do a lot of things on your own. It's very hard to be a disabled person. It's a lot on you, on your body. And do you honestly think that Rashad is ready for that? She said, I believe he is. When I was first diagnosed, I told my mother, and I was very ashamed of it. And when it came down to my condition and I wanted to, start dating, I was pretty much, an open book. Because I'm going to either talk about it on the first day or talk about it on the on the sixth day, where I want to get it out the way. Whether or not you're going to be for me or against me, you want to move on with me or move away from me. At the end of the day, this is my life. My condition, I can't change it. And if it's not your norm, then you can go ahead and move on away from me. Which I'm not mad about because it is a sad situation that she has help, but she has to have help majority of the time, and her body tends to lose. Can I say muscle memory? Can I say that? Because it does suck. It attacks her nervous system. And it's completely sad. She probably can't stand for a certain period of time. She has to sit down. So the fact that she has to pretty much be an open book when it comes to how she's doing, I'm not mad at her for that. And to get the right people who want to be a part of your life and not trying to look at you as a disabled person, not trying to call you disabled, but even though she has a health condition that pretty much disables her from time, I would never call her a disabled person. I could never tell by just looking at her. I really can't, but I believe that he is ready for that. I'm not gonna lie. And so for Rashid, why am I keep saying Rashid? Rashad. Rashad talks about his plan of action. First plan of action is home, residence. So him and Kamisha are buying a home. That is the ultimate plan. That is the main plan we're going to do, is buying a home. And in that home is going to be me, Kamisha, my 2 children, and maybe a new baby. So of course, her family is happy. I believe her family is from Jamaica because they have an accent. We need a subtitles to read to understand the father. And of course, the mom is definitely concerned because she has a health condition, multiple sclerosis. And I do believe that multiple sclerosis is also a condition that kind of hinders her uterus to having children. And she asked him what are the steps for that, because she has health conditions. She knows she's on medication. So when she says she's on infusions, meaning I think infusions is another form of medication separate from her main medication of having multiple sclerosis that pretty much helps her prepare for having a baby and help her carry the baby. So the mom is pretty much, nervous and concerned about that because she really doesn't want her daughter to be off her medication for too long, because she wants her daughter to be good, be okay. And it was the same question asked to his family: how you feel about having kids? The mom was like, you know what, y'all do what y'all do, it's y'all business. I don't mind having another grandbaby. But then she said, me and my son gonna have to enter a new relationship, and he needs to have a conversation with me. If not, I'm not gonna have a relationship with that child. I was like, damn. If you don't get a good relationship with your son, you're gonna dismiss the new baby altogether? Okay. So they talk about the relationship with the mother. So, she believes that the way he's feeling is because she believes that he took the ex aside. Or no, she took the ex aside. When it came out to the relationship, he said that the ex-wife will say horrible things about him, and she has done horrible things. It came to the point where in the course of 5 weeks, he did not see his children, but he got word that his children was with his mother. We did not know anything about that. So it's kind of like, you stayed in contact with my ex throughout the time where I didn't see my children. You didn't think to tell me. You didn't think to look at my feelings for it. I was really wanting to know the understanding of that, because he's out of the loop. And I know that communication worked both ways, but we find out that they had a standard agreement. There were supposed to be times where she tells him, it's his time for the kids, I'm going to drop them off. But then she would not do it and drop the kids off at his grandma's house. That's what we found out later in this episode. So I'm like, wait a minute. If this was a standard agreement that he's supposed to see these kids at this exact time, why would you tell him, I'm coming to see, I'm bringing the kids to you, but yet you take them to the grandma house? And obviously he's not knowing it because the mom is not telling him, oh, I didn't know that so-and-so brought the kids here. This is your time, this is your week. Why would you bring the kids here? That's what I looked at. And the grandma, her whole entire plight was, I just want to see my grandkids. I don't care what's going on. I don't want to be involved with y'all. I just want to see my grandkids. That was her main statement the entire time. I want to see my grandkids. Now listen. Wow. Well, I'm understanding her plight, but I feel like the mom kind of turned on blinders to not see what the ex was doing, because I don't think she wanted to ruffle any feathers with the mother. Since the mother is the one that has the children, I don't know if he's going for a 50-50 custody, partial visitation. I have no idea, but I think he's going for 50-50 if they're going to buy a home and the kids are going to live with them from time to time. So, I don't know. To me, I just feel like the grandma didn't want to ruffle no feathers with the mother, because the mother probably went through a whole lot to try to make it seem as if Rashad is like a force of nature, or not a force of nature, a wrecking to be dealt with, and I don't want him to be constantly, around my kids. I don't know. It's something that is not really fully explained about what exactly. Well, it was said a lot, but it still was not. It was still not, piecing all together, because I feel like it's the ex doing this because he's moved on. He's happy. He has a life. I have no idea. But the things that was being said about what she done, I'm kind of like, the mom definitely turned a blind eye when it comes to that, because she didn't want to ruffle her feathers, because she didn't want it to stop her from seeing her grandkids. And the cousin Dion, he chimes in and said, do you not know the horrible thing that she's done to him? Again, I just want to see my grandbabies. That's it. I just want to see my grandbabies. So it's kind of like you did not stay in your child's corner. Because I don't see. I was trying to figure out, what did Rashad do that was terrible, but I couldn't find nothing wrong with him. I really couldn't find nothing. He was conversating, he was understanding, because he felt like, I'm not perfect. I got my mistakes, but I felt like my mother completely disregarded my feelings and just took my ex's side when it came to my kids. Did she not know how that would make me feel? So then, it's kind of like Kamisha feels he has a little bit PTSD because one time, I believe, in that course of 5 weeks, he could not see his children. So he's locked. He's all over the precinct for hours. So now find out that the kids are at his mother's house. So obviously, either he called the police after couldn't get in touch with the mother, or pretty much had to go to the courts or go to the police because, oh, now I know. I think the reason why that happened because the ex filed an order of protection against him. So maybe he could not be within maybe 100 feet or 200 feet at her residence or call her at certain times. So we had to go to the hospital, the precinct, the police station to pretty much get any type of understanding or information about his kids. That's really sad. So, of course, it's kind of like, you did not take a stance from understanding where your son was coming from and took the white side was taking a stance. You said you didn't want to be involved, but you kind of got involved in it because you wanted to make sure that you were not the in the cross of fire of anything, because what they got going on is what they got going on. Nothing to do with me, and nothing's going to stop me and seeing my grandchildren. All understandable, but you're going to have to look at it as if like, girl, you doing all this man to take his kids away. That's my son. Don't do that to my son. You know my son loves his kids. Why would you do that to him? That was what wanted to be said and wanted to be heard. Because then it's kind of like, oh, so you telling me I should have no command of my grandchildren? No, we're not saying you can't develop a relationship with the ex, but come on. You're disregarding your son's feeling at the same time because you're still communicating with her, knowing damn well she's making it hard for him to see his kids. So we get to the family dinner, and they talk about children. Her mother's main concern is her health condition, because I want you to go back to your meds. So when you guys are having kids, so she said it's planned, it's all going okay, I'm okay. Because there was a time where Kamisha was so stressed out that she had a relapse and she was in the hospital for 5 days. So that pretty much panicked the mother and has been triggered at every turn to find out, is she okay? Is there too much stress on her? I don't want no stress on her that's going to put her back in the hospital. So, of course, it's pretty much, the condition of you want to have a kid. I don't want that to be stressed upon you if you're going to have difficulty with that. So then we're talking about the ex. And I believe Rashad just shut down to me. I believe he shut down from the conversation because while he was having that conversation with her parents, her father was like, that's your son. You're supposed to protect your child. I'm not saying protect him while he's doing wrong. Protect him with his feelings. Because you say you love him, right? She keeps on talking about her grandchildren. She loves her grandchildren. But do you love your son, though? I haven't heard you say nothing about how you love your son. I love him. I've given my life to raise my 2 boys. I love him. Okay, can you tell your son you love him? Because she keeps on saying, I don't want to get involved. I made that very clear. I don't want to get involved in their life. I don't want to. Then, yeah, I said that. So while they want Rashad to pretty much talk about his feelings, it just instantly ended right there. It wasn't anything loud. It wasn't anything like negative. It just ended it right there. So he has a private conversation with his cousin Dion. And he pretty much said, listen, brother, at the end of the day, I was there for what was going on between you and your ex. I saw the hurt that she did. But you also only have one mother. And I'm going to need you to get that corrected. Whether or not she knows the mistake that she's made, you need to forgive her. Say you love her, forgive her, and move on. Because you're not going to want to wake up happy, not realizing that your mother will not be at your wedding. And your mother will not be a part of a new life and a new journey you and Kamisha about to be heading towards. You want her to be part of you and Kamisha's life when you guys bring a baby. You want her to be a part of that. So I want you to open up and be honest and tell her what's going on, because I don't think she knows the full extent of what was happening. And you need to tell her. She might not realize what she was doing. But also be respectful, because that is your mother. I was here for the cousin Dion, because he was pretty much saying, you know what, left and right, cousin, listen, I know exactly what you went. I know exactly what's happening because I was there for it. But you only got one mother. You can't get 2 mothers. And I know that's right. And the fact that you have not spoken to her in over a year is mind-boggling to me, because he said that with session with Tracy, he has not spoken to his mother for over a year. Because Rashad's pretty much said, listen, if you're not gonna see where I'm coming from and see my feelings, I'm just gonna walk away. I'm not gonna beg you to see my side if you don't see my side, don't understand my side. Because he said, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna forward a relationship with someone who just deliberately went to the other side and did not see my side, or did not just stay by me because I'm her son. So day 2, we're talking about the conversation of the children, and how Rashad wants his mother to be of understanding, because even though he wants to make sure that that his mom sees her grandchildren, just the way she's going about it is hurting me. So it's kind of like, it's boundaries. I'm not saying you can't have a relationship with the ex, but I still feel like the way you go about it, while she's still creating ways of me not seeing my children, is hurting me. And it's kind of, oh yeah, I'm sorry, we're not talking to Tracy. We're having a side conversation with the mom, Kamisha's mom, and Rashad's mother, because Kamisha's mother, Michelle, she wants to find out more about the information, because to hear that he hasn't talked to his mother and how his mother is on the exercise, she wants understanding. So, like I said, the entire time, the grandma's making sure she sees her children. But I believe that the mother, Michelle, has been around Rashad and Kamisha with his kids. So he has the kid half the time, right? Yeah. So I would say boundaries, you know what I'm saying? Because she's talking about how she buys certain things for her grandkids. She buys it for Rashad's house, and she buys it for the ex house. So if I'm going over there, I might as well do it, right? Okay, then what about Kamisha? She's about to be a bonus stepmom too. Don't you think that she should be a part of you dropping things off with the things that, your grandkids like, that she might want to feed them? Because she's going to be a bonus parent with them too. So she's going to develop her own relationship and what they like when they're around her. You're going to want that as well. So while understanding that the grandmother has every right to go see her grandchildren, I think it's the way she's going about it that she's not recognizing. Like I said, I have no issue with you trying to still create a stable relationship with the mother, but don't overlook what the mother is doing in regards to your son going through a huge custody battle, a very hard custody battle with his kids, but you're not feeling that. You're not feeling the brunt. You're not feeling the stress. You're not feeling the pain that he has to go through to see his kids, because you have easy access to them at any given point based off of your connection, your relationship with the ex. Like I said, I believe the mom was overlooking what the ex was doing in order to make sure she does not get caught in the crossfire of checking the mom on how she's going about with keeping her kids away from her son. Because she's making sure I'm the one in good standing with that. Let's make sure I'm good. Grandma good. But grandma, you need to take a stand. You need to tell her, girl, you know you foul for doing that shit. What exactly is so terrible that what's happening here? What you're doing is wrong. And come on, at some point the kids are going to definitely feel the strain of this. This is not, you can't convince me the kids are not feeling this. Look for him. Mom, James go first. Okay. So then, you're talking to Tracy about her process, and oh yeah, he's ready. So they're talking to Tracy, and Rashid is definitely ready to tell his mother the extent of what the ex has done to him. Because again, don't believe that the mom really knows. So like I said, so of course, the talking about the relationship, and grandma's trying to be grandma. She is not about to be in a place where she's not about to see her grandchildren. But he felt like he lost his mom because she didn't support him through what was happening. And then it comes to that point where we're talking about the conditions that what was happening. Because, Tracy is talking to Rashad about how his controlling, when he wants to be in full gear, he's all in. But when it comes to creating or, fixing a relationship with his mother, it's all stop. It's stopping. It's no going. It's no none of that. So we need to figure things out. And for Carissa, she needs to come up with a way to let her mother know that she's really good, because most of her family is talking about the stress upon her body, her condition, with being in a relationship with a man who has a custody battle with another woman. Can you handle this? Can your multiple sclerosis and his extracurricular activities going on, can you handle this? So she needs to have a conversation. So like I said, we get to the breakdown. I said earlier, the ex filed an order of protection against him to the point where he didn't see his kids for that. And then the course of 5 weeks, he didn't see his kids for that. The mom didn't know. But she said, you want me to sever that? I severed that. I did not know the extent of what was happening because I was just so focused on making sure I saw my grandchildren. I can't fault her for that. I really can't. But like she said, he told her don't get into the middle of it. And maybe I haven't been as open as I have been to letting you know what was going on with me. I've been private. That was bad on my part. I'm not trying to stop you from seeing your grandchildren. I'm not. It's just the way that went about it hurt my feelings, and I was hurt. I felt like you wasn't looking at my side of things. So I'm going through the toughest custody battle of my life, and you weren't there. So of course, they try to they fix it. They say I'm sorry to each other. I miss you too. Kamisha's talking to her mother about how there were times where Kamisha would talk to her mother about how she was fine, I'm okay, but underneath all that, she wasn't fine. And all the way down till she got the call from the hospital that her daughter was there. And while that triggered her, she ended up seeing someone to help her go through that, because that was very sad. That was a very traumatic experience for her. So now, when it came down to telling her mother how she's fine, I'm really fine, and I'm really okay, but I know at times, the past, I've led you believe that I was fine, but I wasn't fine. So let's maybe talk about a number scale, like doctors do. On a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel? 2, maybe 10. If I'm in between the middle numbers, then that's where you can get concerned. Day 3. It was a great conversation with letting his mother know how he felt, letting her know what was going on, and how I need to be more open so we can be on the same page when it comes to my children. And for Kamisha, same thing. I expressed to my mother about how I know that she has concerns about my condition, but we have moved on to being more trusting and opening to a number scale, so I could be more open and honest about how I'm feeling. And if I need help, I can go to it. So blessing ceremony, everybody says yes. I'm happy for that. We get the update. Kamisha and Rashad have bonded more than ever. They're planning to buy a home, and they're purchasing or buying a home, and they're planning to, a wedding. Kamisha is also getting her condition under control, or getting her health as far as like her stress level, with prayer, meditation, and exercise. And Rashad's mother is respectful of his new boundaries as he remains in an ongoing dispute custody of his kids. This was a very interesting episode, even though at times I felt like it wasn't clear when it came down to the situation with his ex, and also the situation with Rashad and his parenting. But other than that, I didn't find nothing really wrong about the situation, to my opinion. It was just a really good episode, and Rashad and Kamisha look like a very handsome, a very lovely couple. But that's it, you guys. That's all I have. So please stay tuned for the next video, and I'm gonna see you guys later. Bye.